Hey friends, it is your creative, weird, creepy makeup artist friend here online, Cat Sketch, to bring you another makeup transformation. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos like this. I do videos every Monday and Friday, beauty makeups, effects videos, body paintings, while talking about spooky, creepy, weird stories. Today we are going to do a body painting, face painting of Aggretsuko, or Aggretsuko, known in this TV show. That's my favorite animation lately. This Japanese musical comedy anime web television series based on a character actually made by Sanrio. Aggretsuko definitely looks like a red panda, and she is very relatable, especially with 20-something-year-olds. The show is so good, the plots have so many twists. She works in an office as an accountant and feels all the stress and pressure in life, and she has a quirky little hobby, a passion project that she does on the side to let out all her frustrations from her job. She goes into this rage mode when she does karaoke, singing metal music. It's so good, it's so unexpected, so we're gonna turn into that while talking about really creepy, ghost-like, paranormal, and scary stories from office buildings, office jobs that people are retelling, and they're definitely super duper creepy. So let's get into the story time while turning into Aggretsuko. The first story is called Haunted Office, and it happened to the narrator, the storyteller, the person that happened to 4 years ago, but they remember every detail of it because it was the scariest moment that they say has ever happened to them in their life. This person worked as an in-house graphic artist for a cosmetic company, and normally during the day, their offices were very packed with people, but nobody wanted to work there alone and by themselves at night. And I have a feeling we're gonna figure out why this is. I mean, just for safety reasons, I listen to a lot of murder crime scene investigation podcasts, and I wouldn't want to work in a huge office building alone at night by myself just for that specific reason. And apparently if you worked in this office and you had to work at night, you worked in groups or pairs, groups of 3 or 4. Already in their office, a lot of the people that worked there at this makeup company, they have heard chairs swiveling by themselves at night and office supplies moving by themselves. Also dark shadows appearing in the office, which I feel like more scares me, more so than even the random objects moving. This person who's telling the story was super interested in it at first because she was into the paranormal but never experienced anything paranormal. So one Saturday afternoon, this person's boss instructed them to go to the office by themselves to go work, and it was only going to be them and the security guard at the office. And since it wasn't at night, they thought that they would be totally fine and that there wouldn't be anything creepy or weird happening, and boy were they wrong. Nothing happened there for the first 2 hours, and everything was super quiet until they started playing music. As like, you know when you play background music when you're working, just have some noise in the background? Well, that's what they did. While they were editing their project together and listening to the music, it was the 3rd hour of the day, and creepy stuff were starting to happen. All of a sudden, they heard squeaky rubber shoes on the marble floor outside. At first they thought it was an office next door, maybe someone was in there, but then they heard the noise coming closer and closer towards them. Almost like the noise was also right in front of them. And they want to make a note that there was nothing in front of them except desks and cubicles. And they were the only person again in the office. And the security guard that was working there was at the front entrance of the building, and the security guard had to walk through a very long hallway to get through the office to the office area, which was unlikely where she was hearing these footsteps coming from. And this person stopped their music to listen to the footsteps once again, and it still sounded like there was rubber shoes running back and forth on the marble floor, squeaking almost like it was right in front of their desk. This person doesn't normally get scared or creeped out, so they just turned the volume of their music louder to finish the editing project that they were doing at the time, which I could not, never. I would be like, what? Any loud noise in my own home, I'm like... And all of a sudden the noise stopped, and they thought that, oh, maybe it's done with, maybe they were just imagining it. Then all of a sudden they heard voices behind their head behind the desk. The voices were laughing behind them, and it made the hairs on the back of their neck stand up. And the creepiest part is they were on the 21st floor, so when they looked behind them, all there was giant office windows that were so many feet in the air, so you just look outside, there's nothing behind them. They shut the music off and the laughter continued on, so that was it for them. So they saved their project on their computer, saved all the files onto the USB port thing, and logged off and walked away, turned everything off. It was company policy that whoever was left last in the office had to lock the door, so they had to take time to make sure all the doors were locked. So they made sure everything was securely locked as they were walking away from the door of the office that they're walking from. All of a sudden, as they were walking down the hallway away from the door, they heard a click and the door they had just made sure double check was locked swung open. Nobody was there and the door slammed back shut and they ran away. I wonder if they kept their job after that, because I hope the door stayed locked and shut. But I'm sure if other people experienced that type of thing in that office, that they understood, hopefully, including her boss. This next scary story is called The Old Hospital. Working in an old hospital alone is creepy, but this one is definitely creepy. The last job they had before this was also working in an old hospital. Honestly, I wouldn't want to work there, but I would like to, take an adventure tour. They had to clean and sterilize medical instruments, and part of their job was going to this one section of the hospital called the North Tower. So with that name alone, it was creepy enough. But when they went down, it was like this basement type area in the North Tower. And whenever they were down there working, it was during a second shift sometime that started at 7 p.m. in the evening. And they would have to work by themselves to midnight or later, and they constantly heard dumbwaiters moving up and down within the building by themselves. These dumbwaiters went up to ICU and they would carry medical supplies back in the day, send up carts for surgery, and they could just hear clanking on the shelves and these dumbwaiters going up and down. And it was spooky to them, but after a while, I guess they just got used to it because there was never any more weird paranormal stuff, I guess, other than that happening at the old hospital in the North Tower. This next story is called The Little Boy in the Warehouse. This person recently found a new job in the import-export industry. And at their company, there's 5 office units attached to one big warehouse where all the products are. They worked in Unit C and their lunchroom was in Unit A, which was on the 2nd floor. And when they were working there, a lot of their coworkers were telling them that they heard a lot of running and walking happening, sounds on the very back side of Unit A of the warehouse. So Unit A actually held products that they didn't sell a lot of, so it was very dark and bleak there. They kept a lot of the lights out in that unit. And one day, this person's coworker, she went to go see what the noises were because she started hearing those noises that everyone was talking about. She followed the noise and then saw what seemed like a little boy figure running away from her. And at first she was stunned. She was like, oh my gosh, what is this little boy doing in here? So she followed him to make sure he would get out okay. But then while she was following this little boy, he just disappeared. So one day during their lunch break, this person decided to go to the lunchroom, again, 2nd floor of Unit A, to get everyone's lunch. And he started hearing noises coming from the bathroom, but their bathroom unit was like super tiny. It didn't even actually have a toilet seat. It was like kind of run down. Nobody really used the bathroom. So it was a little suspicious that I heard noises, almost like somebody was in the bathroom. And this person was so freaked out because, again, no one goes into that bathroom. So they got the guts to encourage to go and look in the bathroom for themselves. They opened the door and nothing was in there except the toilet was flushing and swirling almost like it was happening by itself. They ran away and never looked back. This next tale is titled, Do Ghosts Have Inner Children? The employees at Toys R Us in Sunnyvale, California, oh my gosh, I already miss Toys R Us. I can't believe they're all gone. They're more familiar with the paranormal and the other side, apparently. People at this Toys R Us have seen bathroom faucets turned on by themselves and toys being flung across off the shelves by themselves. They're moving into the aisles at night, all the toys. And it really has been, I'm sure, creeping them out. Employees at this Toys R Us have also been seeing ghost-like foggy apparitions and frisbees free-floating by themselves in the middle of the toy store aisles. Some people think it's less than scary to think that ghosts are using their free time to play with frisbees, and they ask what's next, hacky sack? Bop it? But honestly, that would freak me out. This isn't even an office though, and the other one was a warehouse. I want some office stories. This one told me it was offices. I guess these are all work-related stories. But this next story is by a person that used to work in a haunted house. At first, the haunted house didn't look like much. It looked like a regular suburban house in a split-level home in Jacksonville, Florida. They actually renovated this home, the owners of it, to make it into a small print shop and office for its workers. And they moved from working out of a small strip mall to this home-like office after working there in 1994. But when they moved into this haunted home in suburbia, that's when things started getting really creepy. It was little things at first, like they would put a pin down on the counter and they turn around to do something, and then when they turn back around to pick up the pin, it would be gone. It just like disappear into thin air, or like someone had moved it but no one else was there. And then it was their computers going absolutely haywire, which was weird because a lot of them were brand new Macs and they were absolutely working fine at the other location before they moved to this home office print shop situation. This is when they started joking about ghosts, and that's one thing I don't think you should do, is like question whatever spirit might be there, saying, ooh, the ghost is taking our pen, ooh, the ghost is breaking our computer, making it go haywire again, because that's kind of intimidating the ghost, like questioning its power and existence, in my opinion, dealing with spiritual stuff in my own personal life. It was all fun and games to them for a while and a joke until their cleaning crew quit all of a sudden because they saw a little girl floating outside of a window, and it was an upstairs window. The boss of the company started joking around about it at first until their employees started sharing their paranormal stories of what's been happening. A man with mutton chops and overalls has been seen wandering around the place by the first employees that were arriving there and working there. So they unlocked the doors, turned off the security system, searched high and low, and they found nothing. No one, no man with overalls and mutton chops anywhere. An employee working late by himself heard someone open the front door and walk down the hallway. But when he went to go look, there's absolutely no one there. At first he thought it was going to be his boss, but he heard footsteps and like someone literally like opened the front door and walked there, but no one was there. And he's working late by himself. This particular employee even called out the boss's name. No one answered, of course, because no one was there, and they would work there late by themselves very often. On another night, this employee heard the water cooler go off, like, you know, when someone gets a glass of water from a water cooler, it makes that glug glug glug. And he heard that noise just to go over to the water cooler to see who was getting water, with the water cooler being bone dry and needing to be replaced, so there was no water in it to be there in the first place. So of course he packed his stuff up and left for the night. It got more intense. One employee was scratched and pinched in the back room of the house that they used as storage. The boss of the company would come into work at 3 or 4 in the morning, and they had several experiences of paranormal occurrences happen to them. One day, the boss said that she went down the stairs to get some files in a certain room, and when she was leaving, she heard someone tell her, "Turn the lights out." So she complied to this random stranger apparition's voice to turn the lights out, and she said, this boss said, that she has also seen the little girl's apparition many times. The boss said that the little ghost girl appeared at her office one day, and she asked her where her parents are at, if she's lost, what's her name, and the little girl just turned around and disappeared right in front of her eyes. And at this point, the person telling the story has heard all these stories from the boss, from the cleaning man, from other coworkers, but nothing in particular has happened directly to them. And I have a feeling that's gonna change. And they think that this didn't happen to them, no paranormal activities were happening to them, is because they didn't work at night. And when they arrived, they believed and respected the spirits. They believed all these stories, so they would tell whatever spirits there is that they're going to be respectful and quiet as long as they don't hear or see them. Until one day, this person was working on the computer and their pressman came in for work, who was a volunteer fireman, and he was a die-hard non-believer of the paranormal. And he came in to grab a soda from the kitchen in the offices of like this building. They had, you know, their own little lunchroom kitchen thing. He passed by this person's desk, darted upstairs all of a sudden, and then when he came back down from the stairs, he was white as a ghost. And he asked if their boss had passed by their desk at all. And he thought it was weird because he explained to this person that he had seen their boss at her desk when he was getting his soda, but they reassured him that the boss was not there. He explained that he saw the boss like passing by the desk, sitting by the desk, but again reassuring him, no, the boss is not there. And he explained that the boss, or he said he saw this boss, and that she was just standing smiling at him. And he thought it was like kind of jokingly because, you know, they had some tension, nothing like just over job work, like maybe she'd piled a lot of jobs on him all of a sudden. So he thought that she was like, you know, haha, you have some work to do now, get to it. And he said when he came back to this person's desk area, he had a horrible feeling of dread after he saw what he thought was the boss. This guy had this odd feeling of dread that he had to go upstairs to go see the boss to tell the boss something again. So he ran upstairs. He had this gut reaction to go up there and talk to the boss. But when he got up there, the boss was talking to their accountant in a totally different area of this whole entire building. So if the boss was there, who was it that was smiling creepishly at him on the other side of the building? Because their boss was talking to an accountant in the accountant's side of the office of the building, not near that area near the kitchen where he saw her before. And she had been standing with that accountant in that area for 30 minutes. The boss had. And they never would forget this guy's face. His face went white because he couldn't explain what he had just seen, and he was a non-believer, so how it just would not process. And I've seen that in other people's faces, and it's terrifying. Like, how do you explain to someone what they're going through ghostly? Sometimes it's almost as hard as telling someone, oh, Santa's actually real. Like, that's how insane it is for some people. So one day with this job, the local radio station was holding a contest. And the contest was that they were gonna broadcast from a local area in their town that was apparently haunted. So of course this company decided to put in their stories and experiences to the local radio station, and they actually won the contest. And the radio station came out early in the morning before the people in the company were even like awake. By the time that the radio station had started their, I guess they were doing it live or whatever, their investigation, this person that's telling the story said that they had just gotten into their car to go there. And things at their office work building have already started happening. Like, things in their building were falling in the back room. They were using their cell phones to broadcast onto the radio station, and they could hear people's voices that weren't even in the building. I feel like these ghosts were like, ooh, new people, let's party. Like, the voices that they were hearing weren't even made by the people in the house, like, shop business at the time. There was a ruler that had been suspended from a wall that was fallen right in front of a coworker while they were there. As soon as they got there, they heard about the ruler and talked to the person that it fell in front of. They went to the back room to hear all the explanations of what's been happening in the storage back room, of stuff falling everywhere. And right above one of the doorways, there was no shelves or anything around it. It was just like cinder block around this doorway. And while they're talking to their coworker, talking about everything that happened by the cinder block doorway, another coworker was just staring at them while they were talking, very like blankly and weirdly. And suddenly that same coworker who they saw staring at them came through another door on the other side of the room. And they asked this coworker, how did he do that? How was that possible? How could he have gone from looking at them from across the room at this doorway and coming out of a totally different door of the same room that fast? It was impossible. And the coworker just thought they were weird and didn't understand and just went back to mopping and doing his job. He was like, no way. He looked at them like they were totally nuts. And later that day, they had listened to, you know, that radio show that they actually did EVPs, and this person didn't know what EVPs were at the time. They're electronic voice phenomenons that are captured usually on a recorder to hear any type of paranormal voices that can come through like a voice box from the other side. And you could decipher like through sounds of noises. Sometimes ghosts will come through the EVP's electric box to say something in between the noises that this electronic device is giving off. I'm a big believer in watching all those ghost hunter shows and everything, so I know what they mean. And what they heard on this EVP absolutely terrified them, because at first they heard voices of children playing. In this EVP, there was a DJ actually working there in the back room that day. And from the back room where the DJ was, through all the noise that the DJ was making, they heard a deep voice that was unrecognizable that said, "Leave me alone." Clear as can be. After this radio broadcast phenomenon that they had won, and when it was aired, 7 psychic mediums actually contacted this company to work with them. And around half a dozen psychic mediums came into their home office, and a lot of them were quacks and they thought were fake and not real, but 3 of them or so they thought actually produced some detail and interesting like evidence of ghosts. But one of the psychics actually stood out to them the most, because she immediately came in and talked about how this home was definitely haunted and has recently been renovated, so much so that she even described what this house looked like before they turned it into this office for their company. Like, this is where a closet used to be, this is where like the old kitchen was, and it was like so on point. And this psychic medium actually said that there are 4 main spirits in this home. There is a young woman spirit in her late 20s to early 30s. There was an older man in overalls in his late 60s. There was a little girl who was between 7 and 9 years old. That was probably the one floating on the 2nd story window outside of it. And then there was a young man in his 20s who was very angry, and he was the ghost that usually stays in the back room storage area. And as the psychic was walking through the house, she described so much detail. Like, she described the closet where the little girl's spirit could be located at, because when the little girl was alive, this is the closet that she was sent to when she was being punished. But the psychic made it clear that this little girl wasn't ever locked in there or abused, but she was just like sent there as punishment. And she could feel this little girl's spirit's residual energy, and that it was very calm, in fact. That is until she walked back into the room, into that back room. As soon as the psychic was in that back room, she seemed visibly shaken. She excused herself to leave the room because she said the energy in that room is far too disturbing even for her. She exited through their back door, walked into the yard to compose herself for a few minutes, and she apologized. And as soon as she, this is gonna get graphic, walked back into that back room, she saw body parts hanging from a big wooden ceiling beam. Then she turned around and pointed her fingers at the solid wood back bench in that back room. She asked if there had been a second workbench on the other side of the house, and the owner determined yes, that there had been. And she said that's the bench where they cut them up. And that's when they knew that their house was haunted. This house had been seen at a murder, not only a murder, but a mutilation. Needless to say, the boss of this house building company was disturbed, and she even did more research to find out more at this home. And when she found out more, it was even more disturbing to her. There had been an incident at the house, but no one had been arrested for the murder that had happened there, or tried at all. because they couldn't find a torso or a head. What? For evidence, I'm guessing? The incident she had dug up was that a homeless man had been murdered by KKK members. I didn't expect that at all. And apparently the sheriff at the time had been deeply involved with the Klan, so maybe that's why no one was being tried for the murder, since the sheriff was already for it. At one point there was a TV show called Sightings that actually did an investigation on this house, but they didn't catch any evidence. I wonder, I'm gonna look up that show now, but then if they didn't catch any evidence, that would they have not aired it, I have a feeling, so maybe I can't find it. I need all of the details. I'm the type of person, when I hear like a crazy something like this, I want to find out more. There's some mix-ups between the states and the county with this investigation, and the TV show Sightings also confirmed about the KKK going-ons and about the murder as well. No wonder that a young man in the back room was so angry. Since this person probably doesn't work there anymore, they found that the building where all this happened is actually for rent for $2,500 a month, and that if anyone's thinking about buying it and renting it, or I should say renting it, just don't work there at night. I'm gonna finish up this line detail work of this and put in some contact lenses, and I'll be right back. And some ears, of course. And like that, we have contact lenses, detail, and ears on. We're completely done turning into Aggretsuko in her rage mode. I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup and all of the top 5 spooky stories I could find at work, offices, jobs. Inspired by the show, it's so good. Leave me a comment down below if anything creepy, not just ghostly, has happened at your job. I would love to hear the story. Or school if you haven't had a job yet. You can subscribe for videos of beauty makeups, effects videos, body paintings, all while we're talking about spooky, creepy, eerie stories year-round, not only just near Halloween, here on this YouTube channel. All the products I use in this video will be listed down below in the description box, including these beautiful mesh white contact lenses from pinkyparadise.com. I love this makeup because I can have my eyes open or closed. I wouldn't suggest going out in public with these white contact lenses though, because it's like you're walking in actual fog. You can barely see over 6 feet in front of you. But for videos and effects, they're amazing. You may need like someone to take care of you if you do, to guide you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. I'm so excited to show you some more things of makeups and tell some creepy things. See you then. Bye.